In 480 BC, at the Battle of Thermopylae, 7,000 Greek soldiers, led by the Spartan contingent under their king Leonidas, bravely hold off an at least 10 times bigger Persian army. The narrow mountain pass of Thermopylae meant outflanking the Greeks was impossible. The Spartans and fellow Greeks stubbornly stayed in formation and suffered only light casualties over the span of 2 entire days. Lastly, however, they were betrayed, and through a secret passage the Persians were able to sneak behind the Greek army. For King Leonidas and the Spartans, retreat was not an option. Roughly 300 Spartan warriors, their king and a few allied men stayed behind to cover the retreat of the main army. The remaining forces were most likely killed to the very last man. This story is why many consider the Spartans to be the finest soldiers of antiquity. But were they really this good?
Only the strongest boys in ancient Sparta would make it to adulthood. Infants who were considered weak were left to die. Those proven worthy had to endure the hardest training one can imagine. During their training, the young Spartans were subjected to a strict regimen of physical exercises, combat training, endurance tests, and survival skills. They were taught to endure hardship, display courage in battle, and develop a sense of discipline and obedience. Around the age of 20, they had finished training and were ready to serve the state. A full-grown Spartan hoplite was armoured with a shining bronze breastplate, as well as a bronze helmet that covered the entirety of the head. They also used to wear a red tunic. The primary weapon of a Spartan warrior was a long spear called a dory. Spartans also carried a short sword known as a xiphos.
The most iconic piece of Spartan equipment was the hoplon, a large circular shield made of wood covered with a layer of bronze. However, Sparta's military was not only made up of Spartiates but also of Perioeci, that were free non-Spartans, and Helots, that were slaves. Perioeci and Helots both served as light units most of the time. It should be clear that they possessed less training and equipment than the Spartiates. The high point of Spartan prestige was without a doubt during the 5th century BC. Afterwards, their status would begin to crumble. Sparta failed to destroy the new-formed Theban hegemony and lost the Third Sacred War in 346 BC.
Under Philip II, the northern Greek state of Macedonia would become the new dominant force within Greek. Spartan reputation would further diminish after refusing to aid Alexander the Great in Persia. They even went as far as to revolt against Alexander's empire but were heavily beaten at Megalopolis. Sparta would never be as feared nor as respected ever again. In 146 BC, the ancient Greek state of Sparta would finally fall and, just like all of Greece, become part of the Roman Empire. So in the end, we can say, within the 5th century BC, the southern Greek state of Sparta fielded one of the best and probably the most well-trained military of antiquity, but they lacked consistency over time.